Hello my Owlettes, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be working in my fairy tale journal. I haven't worked in this in a while and I've been thinking about it. I just haven't been playing in it. So I recently, when I went on our trip to Vermont and New Hampshire and all the good places, I went to the Robert Frost Museum, and you guys, it was magical. I have to tell you, I'm going to tell you all about it while we put it, I'm going to put it in my fairy tale journal because that was a fairy tale moment for me for sure. So, if you're not familiar with this journal, if you're new here, welcome. This is a journal I started, oh gosh, I don't know, back in 2020 or something. It's been a while. And it's just where I started kind of like collecting little images, quotes, things that that I enjoy and I love and I consider like my fairy tale life, which is my La La Land, which I love to come here quite often. But yeah, so this is July 2020, and this is Susan Branch going to the English countryside. And so yeah, so I just really just kind of add this little pieces there, like a little images that I get off Pinterest. Sometimes they're just little clusters. They may not have anything on there, but I can come back. There's no rhyme or reason. It's just adding all the beautiful things that is part of your fairy tale life. So, and sometimes I write things in there, lots about having lots of color in my life. And quotes, I love putting quotes in here. So yeah, so this is kind of what this journal is all about. It's definitely one that I just play in as I go along. It's not chronological, it's just fun. So I wanted to put in there about my Robert Frost Museum experience because that was just so it's amazing. I wanted to do it the first time we went, which I had no idea it was even there, which was a pleasant surprise. And I don't know where my other little hand is. And so yeah, so let's play. So a little Robert Frost history for myself. How I learned about him was I had this amazing English teacher. I actually had him 2 years in a row. I got it confused with 7th and 8th, but now I'm starting to think it was my high school. I know how I got that confused, but that was years ago, right? And I'm gonna take a sip of my coffee. Hold on just one second. Thank you. So that was years ago, right? So anyway, I just always, in fact, I'll tell you, I might have mentioned that earlier on here, but I actually reached out to my English teacher and I found him on LinkedIn and was like, he's now a speaker, so which I thought was kind of cool. But anyway, he's one of those people that lingered in my mind constantly because he introduced me to American literature and American poetry, and I absolutely love it. So so going to the Robert Frost Museum was just amazing. So that's kind of the story behind my introduction to Robert Frost. I did pick up this amazing book from my library at the museum. It is my favorite poem, which is Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening. And it basically is illustrated. And who's this illustrated by? Susan Jeffers. And so pretty. And it just really, to me, it speaks this, what I envisioned this poem to look like, you know. It just, and also look at that big owl. I love this. So anyway, also oh, he made a snow angel. Going out there to the museum, they have trails that you could go on. He actually has two. So this one is his stone house where he lived, and it has a whole section, a whole like timeline and everything. And then the other one, I think it's just like a I kind of want to go back to that one too because it was closed, but I think it's just where you can go, and I don't know, I'll have to do some research on it. But I do want to go back to that. So yeah, so this is just kind of a really cool. But the other one, it has trails also. I really wish we could have done the trails, but I'll tell you why it was so magical when we went. was it was raining. So, I mean, like pouring down. We had our raincoats on, and you could hear it, what's the word? Pettering across on your raincoat. I printed out the poem also, and shrunk it down to fit in my journal. But yeah, so it was like raining, and so when we went up there, no one was out there, right? And we had gotten there first thing when it had opened, and we were like, oh no, is it closed? And then we were like, it's during the week, you know, maybe not many people come to visit this, and maybe they're closed, and we just didn't know it, because the other one was closed on that particular day that we were over there. And so we were just like, oh, this is so disappointing. And so they have these statues out front, right? And so I'm going to kind of do a little fancy cut on this. They had a statue out in the front. So me and my sister went over there and was taking pictures with it. And then as we got back to the car, it was still pouring down raining, you know, and we were collecting leaves and, you know, doing our thing. And she noticed when she got in the car that she didn't have her phone, and I was like, oh no. So she went out to look for her phone. We had, I don't know what we had in our hands, but leaves and whatnot. Anyway, we get out of the car. She gets out of the car. I kind of follow her. Well, all of a sudden, here comes the car. Well, it was a young lady that ran the museum. She's actually a student, because this is actually part of the college there. And she was so apologetic. She's like, this is my first time opening, and I left the keys at home. And so me and my sister talked about it. It's a God wink that we that she lost her phone, and her phone was out there laying in the next, close between the car and the statue. And so she's like, oh, it's a God wink, because we would have left, and we would have been, well, that was one of our things on our checklist, and we would have missed it. But no, we didn't. So that was a fun surprise. So I'm just gonna pop this little poem in here. And then I have these pictures that are from the museum, and I printed them out really small so I could add them to this journal. And sorry, I was giving mine. That's another story, Ebenezer Scrooge. But I wanted to print out some pictures. Oh, and so fun fact about him is he had a, they had a beehive inside, right? And so it was like a glass, it was a tall, it was by a window, and it was real skinny, and it was a tall glass, right? And so what she said, that they really tried to make it just like Robert Frost, and because he had bees in his house. I mean, not in the house, but he harvested bees and honey, or he harvested honey with honeybees, and so that was like a big thing. But he also, like, the reason they moved out there is it actually I think his son ended up taking over the property because they had an orchard. I think they might still have an orchard. I don't know. I read a lot, but like I don't have the best memory. I remember the things that I remember, certain things. Let's just put it that way. But that is something I can't remember. I know that he lived out there for a while, and he did a move because he would go down to Florida during the winter months. But he was like madly in love with his wife, which I thought was so sweet. And then what else? Oh, and so basically, there was a lot of information, but my sister was so sweet and just let me take my time and all those things. I'm going to put a background on this picture. Let's do something with where's my fall stuff? Here we go. Let's do a fall background here. We did see lots of wild turkeys too, you guys, on our trip. wish I had my bee paper. That would be perfect. Oh, here we go. Maybe this. What is this? What is this? Oh, it's more of a... That's okay. We can go with this. It's more of a woodsy type. Okay. So... So yeah, there was a lot of information. So the other thing is he was very involved in the college there. And one of the things that I thought was kind of interesting is he... they had the poem Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening in the museum, but I noticed that there was... like they had taken like white paint and put, I don't know, I was really confused on the whole, what it was. Of course I had to ask, but like smudging out some of the, whiting out a lot of the poem where there was only probably like, I would say a handful of words left on the board. And I was like, well, I don't understand. What is this? Is this what, explain, please. Well, and what she said was, she said, it's one of those pieces that you either love it or you hate it, she said, because basically Robert Frost had created a, I guess a position at the college, and this is the lady that had taken over the position, and she writes poetry, and she's, you know, she's got her own stuff, but she also, I believe she works at the museum. I think that's what I understand. Not museum, but college. Yeah, she works at the college. So... she said that during the pandemic, she had come in and she wanted to do that where you make your own poem out of, a written poem. You know how you do that? Like you can do that in books where you smudge out lettering and then create your own writing. And she did that with the poem, but it was on the museum wall. And the museum, she said she had reached out to the curators of the museum and that they were totally fine with it. And she said, but a lot of people don't like it because they feel like it's defacing his poem. So it's a matter of opinion, right? And my opinion, I don't like it. She said that the thing is that it could be what do you call it? It could be kind of a, you know, like where the poem is not going in, like it's not, how did she put it? Deceasing or being stagnant, but it's being created into something else. And I think that is fine, but I was just like, well, wow, but wow, how did they let her do that on the museum wall? I mean, that to me, it was just kind of shocking. So I don't know, that was just kind of an interesting that was kind of interesting to me. But and the reason I was asking I was curious as well is because they had like two and you know, I collect mostly postcards when I'm out and about for my journal, and she was at, I got these at Burdette's. These are some charms I got, so I'm going to add one of these to this page here. But the fact that when they went on to the actual wall of the museum, I think that's where it's shocking. Oh, they had postcards. Yeah, they had postcards of it. They had a postcard of Robert Frost when he was young, and then they had a postcard of that poem that was whited out. And I was just like, this is very interesting. So, I don't know. I think it's a matter of opinion, but I think it's also very strange. I just was really shocked to see that it was very recent, you know, too, because, you know, a lot of times you don't see things get changed if they've been there for a long time, like within a few years, you know. Oh, so pretty. Okay, let's add some color to our page. We need some orange. I don't have my regular marker bag in here, or my marker container. Let's see what we got over here. And I'm just going to write it. Let's do this. Outline this poem. And, hold on just 1 second. Okay, me and my cat going head to head. Okay, so I'm going to do like a little orange outline here. And then I think what I'm going to do is write around it like this. Like I said, this journal is kind of really fun because I just randomly add different things, like I said, that are in my fairy tale world. So, I might write off the screen just so I can think a little bit also. Let me see here. I picked up these leaves. I have leaves everywhere, you guys. Well, the bag that I have my leaves in, like, flew up and fluttered everywhere, and needless to say, I picking them up as I go, and I was like, oh, I needed another leaf while I was over there messing with my cat. I like just having movement in my journals. Okay. Alright, you guys, so I'm going to come around here and I'll come back so I could kind of think about it. And of course I'll be adding some polka dots on the page. Alright, so what I wrote in here was my favorite poem of all time. Visited the Robert Frost Museum in Vermont, September 2024. Magical, chilly, rainy, perfect. Funny, he wrote the poem in the summer. So yeah, I always thought that was kind of funny. They pointed that out at the museum, that he did write the poem in the summertime, and I was like, I wouldn't have thought of that, but it's a great poem. And what was fun is that my sister didn't realize that he had written the poem, and one of her favorite poems is The Road Less Traveled. And so, yeah, I thought that was fun. So it was good for both of us. We both enjoyed that adventure. Alright, you guys, well, thanks for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.